live from our home studios across North America. Please welcome the hosts of DevCentral's Top 5, Peter, Boo, Jason, and introducing our newest DevCentral member and DevCentral Connects host, Aubrey King. Woohoo!
Hey guys.
Like a good game show host, Aubrey, where you from and what do you do?
So I am Aubrey King. I am from Rochester, New York, the giant metropolis in upstate New York. That's an hour east of Buffalo, and most people don't know it is the second largest city in New York State. And as far as what I do, I've been with F5 for 11 and a half years, mostly as a solution engineer for the field. Did some time in commercial, did some time in service provider, and also most recently working with the distributed cloud team under Mr. Tim Wagner. So,
well, we got you as the lead story, but we got to do a little housekeeping first so we can fawn all over you after. Welcome to the show, community. If you're new to the channel, we talk about all stuff application delivery, application services, application and threat intelligence. So if that's your ball game, keeping applications alive, you might want to hit that subscribe button. We'd appreciate it. We broadcast live every Tuesday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific. And then the cool thing is right after that, at the top of the hour at 9 o'clock, we invite you to join us to the DevCentral Connects after show, basically an open mic on community.f5.com. All you got to do is be a member, join the group, and you'll be chatting away for the next hour after the show. How's everybody else doing today? Boo, Jason, you're everybody else, you know.
Well, I'm doing good. It was a long weekend here in Canada. I marked that in my out of office message. Realized now that I can't assume that people realize that I'm out of the office because I'm not just taking care of customers that are just in Canada, but actually interacting with the broader F5 that could be anywhere. So I sent an out of office message just to let everyone know that I was off yesterday, but did enjoy the day yesterday. I did mountain biking in the morning and then doing some VR in a VR game place where they have a whole bunch of headsets set up that are all connected to each other for one of my friend's 40th birthdays. And so I had a full day. I just started wearing an Apple Watch to do some fitness tracking, and I had like rings closed multiple times on the thing from all the activity. So it was a good day. It was a good weekend.
Right on. You doing all right, Jason?
You ask me next week.
Then the next week, yeah.
No, I've been buried in house projects. We're selling our house. We lived there 18 years, and 5 kids, multiple dogs over the years, a couple cats, and you beat the snot out of your house after 18 years. At least we did. And so going through the process, we hit the market today. We still have a few small projects to wrap up, but I took some time off last week to do that. And I'm beat mentally, physically, emotionally. I'm cooked. And so I'm doing well, but I'm going to take some time off after today for the rest of the week and just recharge the batteries a little bit. So I had a couple days off last week, but it was all like hitting the grind over knocking projects out at the house. So I'm going to take some time off and recharge.
Well, you're on camera for the next 90 minutes, so I know you'll be there for us. So, I was thinking about the whole doing the contrite, I can't believe it's June already routine. But this being a top 5, I just figured real quick around the horn, what's your favorite month? So we'll just do favorites. What's your favorite month and your favorite color? I'll start July, the month of my birthday. I think my favorite color is blue, but more the aquamarine. When I was like a little kid, my mom said the reason I started liking the Miami Dolphins was the color combination, and I didn't even know what football was. So how about you, Boo? Favorite month, favorite color?
You know what? I gotta actually copy you. My birthday is in July. I enjoy July not only for my birthday, but because it's the summer. And when you live in the Pacific Northwest, I'm in Vancouver, Canada. You really value the months that aren't raining for 80% of it. And so I love July for that. And my favorite color is also blue. I would say the shade of blue is kind of around like the actual DevCentral kind of color of blue as well. Not too dark, not too light.
Nice. Aubrey.
Oh boy, this is going to sound horrifically unoriginal, but I'm also going to go with July, mainly because it is the month every year that that my Canada, or that my kind of Canada Day retreat happens. So this is we're very close to the border here in Rochester, New York. So we typically take a trip up, which is, you'd think we're right next to Canada, but we go all the way west towards Sault Ste. Marie. So it's like a 12-hour drive. But really, it's a spot in Canada where you can eat as much fish as you want. There's no pollution in the slightest, and it's quiet. There's just no technology. You get unplugged for sure, whether you want to or not.
Sweet.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I'll break rank.
Color.
I'll break
though.
rank.
Color though. I have no favorite color. So sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay.
Now break rank, Jay.
No,
Three cancers and moon
I'll
children.
break rank for the month, and I'll just say any month that's not cold, no matter where I am. Like I loved the snow when I was a kid, but I'm the further south I can move to get to that equator balminess of never really gets colder than about 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Never gets warmer than about 85 if you're not in the like sub-Saharan area or whatever. But yeah, my range of comfort is narrowing. So yeah, anywhere it's not muggy and hot, like the hot doesn't bother me. I'll go to Phoenix and just, it could be 130 and it won't bother me. But here in St. Louis, 78 with 90% humidity is horrific. But yeah. So I'd say any month that's not cold would be my favorite month. And then my color, I like that metallic pewter. Kind of, if you like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm not a Buccaneers fan, but they're like pewter pants that they wear on that color that's my favorite color.
Cool. So when we get right into it, our top story tonight, which is always
number 4.
Our top story tonight is Aubrey. I think that's what we're doing. Do you want to do your story, Aubrey, or you want to talk about? So if you guys don't know, as we introduced, we have a new DevCentral member here joining the team, also a DevCentral Connects host. We started to talk a little bit about Aubrey joining the team. We're pretty excited to have you here, Aubrey. What are kind of some of the things you'll be focusing on?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to be here too. And I'm going to be trying to fill Mr. Wangnan's shoes. So I'm going to be taking over for some of the security coverage that we've got. I mean, obviously we all do little bits and pieces like that, but that will be my focus. So any of those kind of really nice security kind of collaborations or anything coming from the field that is really nice to contribute, or of course the community itself, I want to highlight that and get that out as much as possible. Primarily focused on video, social media, kind of the same things that you see out of Boo and Jason on a monthly, daily basis.
So tell us about the story you chose this month, I should say.
Yeah. So the story that I picked in the security fashion, right, is really about the OWASP Top 10 by Ted Byerly. So for me, this one was nice. It was a two-parter. So the first part was really looking at the differences, I guess, between the OWASP Top 10 as it stood in 2017 versus what it looked like in 2021. And you can see some very, very big changes in the top 10 itself. So as far as, this first article is concerned, really it just talks about the movement. So it's more of a supplement to what I would consider to be the meat of this article, which is part 2, where Ted goes into or really a declarative method to get all of your AWAF policies up and into your CI/CD pipelines, right? That's something that is really important for us in F5, as you know, Big IP has been out there for quite a long time, and now as we watch applications mature and become more modern, we want to make sure that they're easy to just stand up, take down, and that's a nice thing to be able to just copy and paste some code. I think all of us can appreciate that from iRules days as well. But now this is a little bit different, right? We're gonna, I think, coming up insofar as what I'm planning, having looked at the worked with the distributed cloud, I'm looking to also include things like JSON and AS3 and whatnot. So for me, the neat thing about this, though, and the really cool thing about this second piece of this article is it spoke to someone like myself, who is an old-time ASM guy. I really was focused on ASM, and about the time AWAF came out, I was shifting more towards the distributed cloud side of the house. So for me, I haven't had the chance to see this wonderful little feature here, which is highlighted, the OWASP compliance tab. So you can see here that if you're, when you have nothing in your policy, you've got 0 out of 10. And as you begin to configure this policy, as it learns, you end up kind of growing, and it will show you exactly how many of the top 10 you are defending against. So for me, it kind of felt like a long time ago, ASM had a PCI compliance tab as well. And it really feels like that to me, with the OWASP. So I loved it. This is a great thing for any WAF snobs out there, and even WAF noobs, if you want to really focus on learning what these attacks are and what they're all about.
Yeah, it really eliminates the gatekeeping. I think, before it was kind of like, hey, you got to do your OWASP protection, and here's like a big toolbox of things, but where's the instructions? And so, hopefully that bridges the gap for folks.
Yep. Support also has a pretty decent article about that, covering, talking about each of the top 10, what it's about, and then certain mitigation techniques. We'll include that in the description afterward.
It's funny how the OWASP top 10 has kind of taken such a front and center role in security these days. I mean, it wasn't even 5-6 years ago when, you'd hear PCI compliance folks saying, well, you just need a next gen firewall. And it's really not the case anymore. It's like, if you don't have 2 WAFs minimum, you might not pass that PCI compliance audit. So that's the way that I've seen it anyways. So
yeah, and it just gives
your WAF for your WAF.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
And it kind of gives folks at least an area to eliminate, get it out of the way. Of course, every organization is different. They may not, abide by, or all 10 might not apply to, but at least it's a good list to just clear out and make sure you're covered for that.
Absolutely.
Cool. I think we're going to move on to our next story.
Number 4.
Number 4 is my story. So you might not know. Oh, I think we're fighting over the who gets control of stuff, but that's cool. I'm going to feature our featured member articles. It's something we do every month, and often we highlight an MVP member, but it's just a chance to get to know some of our most active and engaged folks in the community. Obviously, any community thrives on its members' engagement and interaction back and forth. So what we do every month is we highlight one of our members of the community. And for the month of May was Rodolfo Naltzmann. Hopefully, I think I pronounced that correctly. And we just kind of learn a little bit about the individuals. In fact, our good buddy Aubrey is going to be next month, so make sure you check that out. But for Rodolfo, it's kind of interesting. He's from Brazil. He's been in the biz a little bit over 20 years, going back to, actually more than 20 years, probably more like 30 years doing basic stuff. The interesting thing about Rodolfo, he's also a trainer. So he works for this company called Red Education, and he's one of the authorized trainers for F5. So he does some online training, but if you're down in Brazil and you're looking for some F5 training, make sure you check out Red Education. I think he's pretty sure he's got up to his 401 certification, so he knows it really, really well. And then kind of the final thing we ask, and it's often pretty fun, is finding out what people wanted to be when they grew up. And like Rodolfo, there were a number of years where I too wanted to be a rock star. I don't know about any of you. That might be a little surprising, me wanting to be a rock star, but that's the one thing me and Rodolfo have in common. So check those out. Pretty fun articles.
I'll say about being a rock star, it's like and about drama in general, is in order to do that, you have to be able to separate yourself from the character that you're playing, whether it's rock star or, actor on stage I can't do that. I don't have the ability. It's me all the way. And I'm just way too self-conscious. So it's like I can sing in a choir, but it's very rare you can get me on stage to sing like by myself, because like I just feel too exposed. I couldn't do it.
So we can't count on you for DevCentral karaoke? No?
If we're there all together singing like 4-part harmonies, you can sign me up. But yeah, I know this about myself. It's like everybody goes on American Idol, right? And it's like, dude, somebody should have told you that that is not for you. And like I have a nice choir voice in a limited range, but I just don't have lead vocals. That's not the tone quality of my voice and all that. So I know this about myself.
You're a DevCentral Connects rock star, though, Jason.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And Rodolfo, I love Peter. Shout out to you and to all the people that you highlight. We not to like air F5 dirty laundry or whatever, but you're on the team, and then there was a period where you were not on the team, and then you're back at the team, and that period where you were not on the team was like the dark ages, right? Because we miss those. Not just because all the amazing stuff you do on social, but that particular contribution every month. I really look forward to seeing how our community engages with technology and life and our community and all that. And so I always really appreciate those features.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
I feel so good. I don't want to move on from number 3.
All right, number 3.
Hey. Number 3.
That's right. Number 3, that's me. I'll go.
Number 3.
All right. Number 3 for me is where's my there it is. Woo. Jeff Giroux is highlighting on DevCentral these new cloud solution templates. And so for years we've had the V1, and we just released V2. It's been maybe a couple months. My ability to manage time is shrinking as I get older. So it's like could have been 2 months, and it's like no, JSON's been out like 8 months. But the cloud solution templates V2 are out, and he kind of goes through the history of, hey, this is what was in V1. They were great, but hey, there were some limitations, and so we redesigned them. And then so he goes through examples for all the different ways that you can engage with these templates. And whereas the first version was more monolithic from a template perspective, in V2 they're modular, so you can mix and match and take what you need and so on. And so the articles, there's going to be an article series here. He's got 3 out already. Deploying the services in Google Cloud with a new stack or an existing stack, so it doesn't have to be greenfield. You can go in and work with something that you already have, and of course, Azure, AWS will be part of that as well. So, kudos to Jeff Giroux for staying on top of that, and I'm really excited to see the investment that F5 is making in all things automation.
That's a rock star there too, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff's been hot the last few months for sure.
That's a much needed article as well. Like I had customers that were on V1 templates and they were trying to figure out V2 and what the differences are. And I wish that article existed back before when I could have just thrown that over to them.
It's like, hey, here you go. And that's one of the things that I saw an internal message about the deployment guides. I don't know if you remember back in the day with deployment guides, but before there was really anything automation other than the iApps, even kind of predating iApps, to get something like, I'm losing it, Microsoft's mail, Exchange. Hello. Wow.
Exchange, yeah.
To get Exchange deployed, I mean, that was no small task with all the different services that go into Exchange. And so that deployment guide, I think, topped out at like 120 pages of settings that you had to do on your F5 gear. And then you introduce iApps, which is kind of the first step in automation, but it was like box specific. And, you're kind of working through a GUI on the box. Even so, that even the iApp had a series of steps you had to go through to configure things, but it configured everything for you. But having templates, having a path to automate all that stuff is an amazing step forward for our users. And the one thing I guess I push back on that a little bit is with automation, it abstracts everything. And so as an engineer, you maybe rely on the abstraction and you don't really fully understand what's going on under the hood. So I always like to, if I'm going to use a template, deploy the template, and then I'm going to study everything it did. Like do a diff of your system from here's what it was and here's what it is, so you can understand what all of those options are.
Which
that's my
was piece. That was the good thing about that Exchange deployment guide. It was 120 plus pages, but it was 120 pages because it did explain these are all the services that you're deploying and all the options that you have and why they exist. And so those were super helpful. And Jeff going into all this detail on the cloud solution templates, hopefully that fills in gaps for everyone.
Yep, for sure.
Sweet.
All right, where are we going, Peter?
I think we got one. No, we got two stories left, but Boo. My good buddy Boo is up next with number
2.
Alrighty, so this month, I've got this article I wanted to highlight by our good buddy and MVP, Daniel Wolf, on Crowdsourced. Now, there was this RFC that was just released, RFC 9116, describing a security.txt file. And this is important. Let me zoom in on this. This is important because, and for me, it kind of, it drove home the need to make sure that you have clearly defined how security vulnerabilities should be reported for your site, for your company. And so doing that or making this file is spec'd out in this RFC. And then Daniel kind of went one step further and said, okay, well, with a big IP proxying in front, then let's just have an I rule that will serve out that security TXT for you. That saves time from the developer having to maintain that. And maybe the developer doesn't get involved with the security folks, but the security folks are involved with the big IP. Maybe they're already doing WAF policies on there. And so, yeah, we can serve out that security.txt from there. But what I really liked about this thread actually is down here, Daniel notes, hey, he mentions, hey, it'd be awesome if we actually sign this file. And then another member jumps in. I didn't notice the username actually. El Deuterino. That is awesome. El Deuterino jumps in and he kind of fills in that picture, and he goes on to say, hey, you know what? F5, there's also the Nginx side of F5. Let's do this with Nginx as well. And then he fills that in as well. And then he goes on and he adds in how to test that stuff. And I just thought that was awesome to see that collaboration. One person kicks things off and then also has an idea and say, hey, you know what? If I had more time, I would do this. Somebody else jumps in and they add on to it. So I think that was a really cool example of how the community kind of came together, collaborated, and came up with a cool solution that's going to serve everyone now. So great example. Great job, guys, for putting that up there and filling that all in.
Always. And it's kind of cool to have it offered before both solutions that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Neat stuff. We're down to our last story. And because I messed up the opening, how we might as well just be transparent here. What story are we doing for the top story?
I got it.
Number 1.
So this one was it National or International Password Day back early May? World Password Day. There you go. It's right at the top of the article. And David Warburton, friend of the show, has kind of walked into this old XKCD comic. And I remember this one is kind of walks through the entropy of passwords and how shorter passwords, easier to guess, and as we get these massive GPU farms for crypto mining, could easily put that onto password cracking as well, and you get to where things that are short are pretty easily solved pretty quickly, but the longer you get, the harder it is, and so but the longer you get, the harder it is to remember things. And so he kind of goes into the idea of, is this really the way it works in the real world? And so, from the DevCentral article, you click over to, I'm not sharing my screen. I'm sharing hold on just a second. Let me redo this so I can get the other article. All right. So the other article, the passwords, safety and security best practices, talking about passwords and passphrases, and it actually kind of goes into the nitty-gritty details about how you work through password length and whether you should use passphrases, and so it's a really good read, talking about complexity, and he goes through the complexity of different lengths. So even correct horse battery staple complexity is roughly 2 to the 40th power. And, which is significant. But then, kind of goes into a list of recommendations. Don't reuse passwords, obvious one, because, if you are compromised on one site, then you're compromised on all sites. Dan Woods, we talked about this with him on the show a long time ago. And his recommendation was, if you use a password manager, don't just use the password that they give you, but also just use a random thing for your username. Obviously, some sites require that you use email, but for the ones that don't, use a random password generator for the username and password. So not even the username is repeatable on other sites. And but definitely long random passwords, passphrases. If you're going to use a password manager, you don't really have to remember them, so you can make them as long as the site will allow. And then obviously multi-factor authentication, especially for the financials, anything that's important to you that you don't want compromised, multi-factor authentication. And we had another guy, I forget his name, on, he's talking about passwords a while ago. And his suggestion was for like garbage sites that you sign up for, coupons and all that. Just use a same password is fine on all of those, because it's easy to remember and it's useless. It's not anything that ties to you. So use like a garbage email, use garbage password, and use it across all of them. But for anything that's important, uniqueness on all of them, password and username if you can.
Yeah, and even I remember one of the labs folks when they were on sometime last year too, that there's even nothing wrong with just constantly doing the forgot my password every time you want to go in if you want to forget it. And as you mentioned, Jason, just sort of accepting that complex, unique one that oftentimes the application tosses at you.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Although hopefully there comes a day where we don't need passwords anymore, but
it's coming.
Right. Maybe someday. It is coming soon. I know there's some initiatives in big tech around the globe. One thing I will say to you site developers with multi-factor or with password managers, don't make it hard for password managers to work. There's several sites that I use that like block my ability to auto insert my credentials. You're making it hard for us to be more secure. And so stop it. Don't do that. Don't block the password managers from working the way that they're intended.
+1 on that. Nice job, Aubrey, on your first show. Are you ready to join us for your first after show?
I am.
Actually, what you don't know is the episode in March, that was actually your screen test back then when we were still kind of talking with you about joining the team. So yeah, that was your screen test. Congratulations. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. My mic was all screwed up too. Like it was, I'm surprised you guys took me after that. Like all you guys sounded the same level. And I was like back here, like talking. But
We can easy to fix.
yeah. Yes.
So let's show you real quick where we're going momentarily. We'll be heading over to community.f5.com. Please join us for the after show. It's the DevCentral Connects group. You can see my mug right here. So you at least need to be a member. And if you're not part of the group, ask to join the group. Look at that, 53 folks so far in our group. And all you got to do is click here on the show. When we lost Boo for a little while, he was in the back green room creating this out for us. And then down here is the Zoom. So hopefully we'll catch you all there momentarily. We're going to pop on over for our after show, basically have an open mic. We'll talk about these stories and any other stories you would like to chat with the team about. Coming up, we got another show this coming Tuesday, the 31st. It's the 5th Tuesday of the month. And then the following week, Boo and I will be at RSA in the city by the bay. If you like this show, please hit the subscribe button, give us a like, invite more folks to join us here for our live stream. Fellas, let's switch on over to community.f5.com. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, fellas.
See y'all.
Hi, fellas.